Hello and welcome to another episode of the Economic Huddle. I am your host today, Nino Garofola, and I'm an economist with Garofola Analytics. Today is Friday, December 22nd, and we are going to be running down the top 3 news items for this week in the world of economics. First off this week is tax reform. Now, scoring a big win for Republicans, the tax reform bill was passed earlier this week. And while we still need to run down our full analysis on this, we do see some positives and some negatives. But probably the biggest win in this legislation is the lowering of the top corporate tax rate from 35% down to 21%. Wall Street Journal economist Greg Ip wrote an interesting article this week, which I'll post in a link below. And he highlighted that even if this does not create additional economic activity, the potential shift in accounting for where the profits are earned might show as much as a 1% one-time boost in GDP readings in 2018. Now, again, this isn't accounting for any actual increase in economic activity, but rather it would increase GDP mainly due to how companies account for their profits based on where they claim to earn their profits as incentivized by each country's tax code. Now, as far as how this will actually affect economic activity, we do see it boosting growth by getting money back in the hands of economic players. However, the bill does look like it comes up short in some areas, specifically in simplicity. One of the areas that we wanted to see was a significant decrease in deductions so as to simplify the tax code and lower the burden of compliance and ease the ability to understand simply how each additional earned dollar translates into post-tax income. And this is an area that looks like the bill falls significantly short. Item number 2 today is the survey of consumers from the University of Michigan. On Tuesday, December's reading on consumer sentiment slid 1.7% from November. So while this is still a solid reading, our expectations were higher for this, especially with the solid economic releases we have been seeing the last few months in areas such as retail and construction. January's reading on this index will be an important one as we find out if it's starting a downward trend or if this is just a speed bump along the road of a more confident consumer. And finally is the news that actually broke last week, and that was the acquisition of 21st Century Fox by Disney. Now, buried in this acquisition is the uniting of ESPN, which is owned by Disney, and local Fox Sports networks. Now, cable subscriptions have been plummeting over the last few years, and much of it has been due to the low cost and high convenience of streaming services. The one thing that has kept many people on cable has specifically been sports. Now, it was announced a few months ago that ESPN will be launching a streaming service, and the acquisition of local Fox Sports assets will give ESPN an even bigger reason to offer a wide-ranging streaming sports subscription. The endgame for this is likely bigger than just sports, as those who have reluctantly held on to cable because of sports will likely choose to cancel their subscription. We see this as being the beginning of the end of cable as we know it, and bringing an even bigger presence to media delivered online. That's going to do it for this week's Economic Huddle. Tune in again next week and have a Merry Christmas.